Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch, my friends, on a Saturday morning. The sun is shining here in Florida. And there's only one thing left to do, my friends, and that is drink it if you got it. And I got it. Wow. It's good. It's good. I made it. I made it. And how are you all doing? Wow, people are finally starting to pour in here. 68 of you already. Wow. Wow. It's encouraging. It's encouraging. It's been a strange morning for me. I'm still fighting this thing. I'm not feeling any worse, but I can still tell that this thing does not want to let go of me. It's like hanging on. You know, you've seen these movie scenes where the spaceship gets a hole blown in it, and everybody is just hanging on sideways before they get sucked out of the big hole, and that's kind of what's going on in my body with this stupid flu thing. My symptoms are diminishing a little bit. You know, less sneezing, but it's living up to its reputation in that it just hangs on. I don't know if there's anything more I can do about it than what I'm doing already. Saps your energy. I don't like that. But I'm just fighting through it. Just fighting through it. Eventually, I think it'll go away. And how are all you guys feeling? Any of you suffering with this? Same thing? Same thing? I see Ellen's here. Good morning, Ellen. How are you? I see all the usual suspects, except I see a few missing this morning. A few people I think are conspicuous by their absence. I think maybe this morning, and I don't know, but I think maybe I'm competing on this live stream platform on Saturday morning with some of my regular viewers who are doing their own thing this morning. So good luck. And if I don't see you in here, we'll miss you. We'll miss you. I have, like I said, had a strange morning. Got up out of bed about 5:30. Felt okay, but I was dragging a little bit. And that's the thing I noticed the most is that spring I usually have, that desire to just start going, go. I was kind of like, oh. Excuse me, still doing that. The cough is still breaking up, and the nose is still running a little. So you'll be treated to more of the usual coughing and nose running. And there's nothing I could do about that, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. But what I did this morning when I got up is I had filmed a video yesterday because I keep promising I want to start putting out more videos, and even though I just don't feel like doing it. This thing saps your ambition. It really does. I don't want to keep complaining about it, but I'll let you follow along with the reality of what I'm going through so that in case some of you are suffering from the same thing. And I know my plumber is definitely suffering from it. It's had him in bed for a week. So in that respect, and he's much younger than I am. I still want to credit this lifestyle for overall better health than most of the people, even the young people today. But if any of you are suffering or mirroring some of the symptoms that I keep talking about, just know you're not alone. You're not alone. If you've escaped this and managed to not get this stuff, isolate yourself as much as you can, because I think the more that you put yourself out there, the more likely you are to succumb to it. I even ponder on whether, well, maybe you should have gotten that flu shot when at the VA this year when they said, when you got your physical. No, I'm stubborn. I basically held my gun, said, well, I don't need no friggin' stinking flu shot. I'm healthy. I can fight off anything. Well, sorry, my friends. There are times when maybe an inoculation might help. I hate to say that because so many people are anti that stuff, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them because of the shenanigans they're pulling with this stuff. I just don't trust them enough. But I've been getting flu shots all my life, and they've never hurt me. I think they might have helped. So we'll see. It's a little late for this year, but I'll have to reconsider that next year. I'll let you know, depending on what we find out about what evil, nefarious deeds these people in medicine and government are up to, whether I want to allow a flu inoculation, which is a guess anyway. They just got to formulate antibodies in what they think might be the mix of which particular viruses are going to be most prevalent this year. But it is what it is. So this morning, I edited a video. I'm putting out an actual kitchen cooking video this afternoon. Hope you enjoy it. I don't know if I think it came out okay, but again, I don't seem to be my normal self these days, and I guess maybe that's showing up a little in these live streams as well. Mama Bear says, my left vocal cord was paralyzed for 6 months after a flu shot with a 10% chance of ever talking again. No flu shots for me. Wow, I don't blame you. I do not blame you. Just when I think, well, maybe next year I'll get a flu shot, I hear a story like this. Excuse me a second. Anyway, if you want to put up with my little bit of sneezing and wheezing, I will continue to do this and be back here again tomorrow morning. Welcome, Laura. I'm glad you guys love me and put up with this. Lucas Hepner became a channel member. Thank you, my friend. When I see that in the chat that I kind of scroll down, that's always behind, I will put it up on the screen. But it did pop up, and so many of you probably saw it scroll through the regular chat. And 109 people here this morning so far. I'll take it. I'll take it. Ellen says, everyone gets sick sometimes. Yeah, I think so, Ellen. I think so. For me, I was getting a little cocky about it. We do that. We get a little cocky. We begin to think, well, I'm not like everybody else. I'm super carnivore here. I have the immune system. The immune system from hell, man. It will conquer anything. Sometimes we get a little rude awakening. The good news was I really didn't suffer too much with this. I only had part of one day where I actually felt that sick. You know, that feeling you have when you're laying in bed, got the covers up around your neck, you're shivering, you feel feverish. I never took my temperature. I don't even have a thermometer. Of course, I have that digital thermometer I use in my kitchen. I could point that at my forehead, but I don't think that's going to tell me a whole lot. Of course, that's what they do a lot of times in the hospital. They just point these things at your forehead. If you have a fever, you know it. You can feel it. You feel flushed. You have chills. I had that for just less than a day, and that all went away. And it's just been dealing with the gradual decrease of these symptoms. But the most noticeable symptom is just the lack of energy, just dragging, tiring easily. I'm not used to that. I'm used to being the Energizer Bunny. I think I need new batteries, maybe. Ellen is talking to Peter there. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, let me go back to normal here, what I normally do. I edited that video this morning. I got done rendering it all, and it's ready to upload. As soon as the stream is over, I will upload it. It'll be out mid-afternoon sometime today, and I hope you enjoy it. It's me in the kitchen, and I hope you do enjoy it, and I hope you all get to watch it. And I'm not going to make another video today. I need to relax. I'm proud of myself yesterday. I did pretty much nothing all day. And I plan on doing the same thing today. And maybe I'll take a shot at a little exercise. Maybe I'll go for a walk today. I think that as long as I have the energy, I need to start moving again. I think I need to start doing some resistance training again. I can feel that I need to reverse what feels like a negative slide in my health back to a positive one. I don't think it has anything to do with anything other than this virus. And I think these things commandeer your entire metabolism, and your body ends up spending most of its energy just fighting these things at a cellular level and trying to get rid of it and get it out of your body. And it's a very complicated process of fighting off an infection or a viral thing, and it just takes its toll on you. And anybody that's ever fought one of these things, and I know people that have fought them for months. I know some people that have had these kind of flus that kind of wrecked their life for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months until they finally got over them. I don't think that's the case here, but I think I'm going through the same processes. Maybe they're just happening a little faster. We'll see. We'll see. I have my appetite back. I ate plenty yesterday. So I think it's going to be just get back to normal. And I'll worry about running the marathons tomorrow or the next day. Let's see who we had here early. We had Lewis L. from New York. Hi, wow, it's me first. Hiya, Lewis. How you doing? Good to see you, my friend. And Furl Grandma chimed in. This is last night's movie, 420. Good. It was good evening to you. Everybody says, see you at 9:30. Yes. Who is this? This is Meatitude, says, see you tomorrow. Aunt B was here. Aunt B, proudly in the top 5. Good to see you. She says, we need more, please. More of what? We need more of everything. Thomas was here last night. Good to see you, Thomas. Target Prime Rib. Sandy Blythe, see you in the morning. And about 10:30 at night, Terry Sue chimed in out there in California. See you at coffee time, Mitch, and all you beef cheeks. Yes. You know, y'all know what ASMR is? A lot of people know what it is. A lot of people don't. ASMR is kind of a sound-based thing. There's people make these videos, ASMR, and there's no talking in them. There are only different sounds. And the sounds tell the story. Not to be outdone, the old guy here tries to inject a little AMSR whenever appropriate. Wait, here's some now. Some people would call that slurping. I would rather be more sophisticated and call it ASMR. And if you don't believe me that it's a thing, just go into YouTube. Go into YouTube. Type ASMR in the search bar and see how many millions of videos. Some of the strangest, some of the most inappropriate stuff you may come up with. It's a riot. It's a riot. And that ASMR just kind of spans the spectrum of subject matter, whether that be disgusting subject matter, sexual subject matter, or just old Mitch slurping his coffee. And Peter chimed in last night. How you doing, Peter? Good to see you. Now we're getting in the morning. Terry was here 7:19 a.m. Lewis came back to let us know he's awake. Steve Studley, get them addicted, get them sick, get them medicated. The medical community with Big Pharma is killing us. Yeah, no doubt about that. I think we figured that out a long time ago. Mike Seeley Sr., how you doing? Good morning to you. And Cordelia is here, 9:13 a.m. Good to see you from Albany, New York. Steve McAvoy joined us this morning. Tammy Pitt-Tarch, good morning to you, my friend. And we're sneaking up on it. Not a whole lot of chatting, not a whole lot of pre-chat here. You guys were kind of missing in action until the stream started this morning. So we're going to sneak up on 9:30 real quick. If you got questions for me, I got time to answer them today. I don't have any agenda, any show notes. My prime purpose this morning was showing up. And I managed to do that. The good news is the congestion is definitely breaking up. You don't realize how congested you were, although I never had any problems breathing, until it starts to break up and you cough up phlegm, which feels good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Excuse me again. ASMR, guys. Not disgusting nose blowing, but sophisticated ASMR. And for those of you who just don't believe me, let's check Dr. Google here and see what Dr. Google thinks about ASMR. ASMR. What is that? Okay, ASMR. Here you go. People also ask. YouTube. Wikipedia. There we go. Let's see what Wikipedia says. Wikipedia says ASMR, and here's what it means: an autonomous sensory meridian response. How about that? is a tingling sensation that usually begins on the scalp and moves down the back of the neck and upper spine. A pleasant form of paresthesia. It has been compared with auditory tactical synesthesia and may overlap with frisson, whatever that is. ASMR is subjective experience of low-grade euphoria characterized by a combination of positive feelings and a distant static-like tingling sensation on the skin. It is most commonly triggered by specific auditory stimuli and less commonly by intentional attention control. The term ASMR can also refer to media, usually audiovisual, meant to evoke this phenomenon, with the sensation itself being informally referred to as tingles. So that's what ASMR is: autonomous sensory meridian response. Inquiring minds want to know. So, let's do an experiment. Did that make you feel all tingly, everybody? They have made such a big thing out of this. Like I said, if you go on YouTube and just type that ASMR in the search, you will come up with millions of videos of people just sitting there making all kinds of strange sounds, doing all kinds of strange things, which is supposed to evoke a euphoric response in the viewer. And I can't speak to whether it actually works or not, but some of these videos are an absolute riot. Who we got here? We got Mitch. Mitch chimed in and says, happy Saturday morning, Mitch Fitz. And we are sneaking up there. Wanda Girling, how you doing? CB, good to see you this morning, my friend. How are you? How are you? Susan Ivy, good morning to you. And Pat D. Armand, good morning to all. 929, Lori's Carnivore Story. Hiya, Lori. How you doing? Coffee number 1 in hand. Yeah. The good news is I usually make a cup last this whole, because I just sip on it. I got the warmer, so it stays nice and hot. But, and here's the warmer. Why doesn't it appear? Yes, it is on. Okay. And 929, we also have Gary. Good morning, Gary. Lady June, how you doing? And the winner this morning, ding, 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 at 9:30. First in the chat is Lewis L. from New York. Congratulations, Lewis. Followed by Robbie Autry. Good to see you, Robbie. Lori, Patty Molden, Lewis, Lucas. I'll blame all this on the flu, okay? Lucas Hepner. Hiya, Lucas. How you doing? And welcome to the private community. Aaron Booby Goats Don Schonger's here. Mark Booze. Hiya, Mark. How you doing? Nikki W. also at 9:30. And Susan Ivy at 9:30. Edward Renner at 9:30. Scotter. Hiya, Scotter. Morning meat folk. And we have Steve Studley. Hasn't found that butter and salt yet, but if I find some, I will pass it to you. C.B. Carmack back at 9:30. Jerry Bell at 9:30. Wow. Terry Sue, 9:30. And Lucas joined the private community right on 9:30. Good to see you. Thanks for that. CB at 9:30. Holy cow. Everybody was diving for the button. Randy Randy K, my friend. How you doing, Randy? Good to see you. And that was it. The last of the 8:30 crowd. And Lori headed up the, I keep saying 8:30, but it's 9:30. Lori headed up the 9:31 crowd. I got it, and it's piping hot. She said, yes, well, practice a little ASMR there. Slurp away. Slurp away. I mean, they do that with wine. You know, I mean, that aerates it when you slurp it, and you get more flavor out of whatever you're drinking. So, yes, even though slurping your coffee in public is kind of a disgusting habit, according to most people, it does make the coffee drinking experience that much more flavorful and pleasant. So, the hell with what they think. Do what you want to do. Good rule to live by. And Paul McGrogan is here. Robbie Autry, Danny in Boston. Hiya, Danny. Wow, we got a big crowd here this morning. For a Saturday morning, 139 people. Good to see. Good to see. Be Matt. How you doing, Matt? Good to see you. Wayne Herman. Remember, questions, QQQ. And in case you forgot since yesterday, and by the way, thank you guys so much yesterday. You really came through on that Buy Me a Coffee stuff. Warmed my heart. Warmed my heart. But in case some of you missed out on the opportunity yesterday, it's still open this morning. There's a link if you feel the urge. Say thank you to old Mitch. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Of course, I think yesterday was Valentine's Day. I have to come up with an excuse to have some kind of celebration every day. And where am I? I edited that video this morning, guys. And I did not turn the TV on this morning. I came right into the office. I started working on that. I got it done. Then I needed to get ready for the stream. Like I said, I'll upload it, and it'll be out there this afternoon. But I didn't watch any news. I didn't listen to any news. I have no idea what happened in the world last night. I made no show notes. I'm just going to be winging it today. So ask me some questions. Give me a subject to talk about, if you would. I see Papa Carnivore not too long ago put a QQQ Mitch, R. Okay? Yes, Peter? Okay, Meatitudes. Today is Singles Awareness Day. There's your reason to buy Mitch a coffee. Okay, it's good enough for me. Singles Awareness Day. I never heard of that. What the hell is Singles Awareness Day? Anybody ever heard of that? I mean, we have an excuse every day for something, or some particular month. It's usually celebrating some minority somewhere, which always pisses me off, being the greatest single minority on the planet Earth. That's me. I am. If anybody should be thinking about inclusion, special deals, it should be me, as a member of the most demonized minority on the planet Earth. The most prejudice. What you say? How could that be, Mitch? You're white, aren't you? Well, yes, I am, but that's not what makes me a member of one of the smallest groups of human beings and most discriminated against human beings on the planet Earth. Everybody has the right to stand in line before me and receive some kind of special consideration. First of all, every female on the planet, by virtue of being a female, especially in business, will be chosen before me because they're a woman-based, woman-owned business. Okay, that's fine with me. Am I maybe more qualified for something than the fact that that doesn't matter because you're a woman and the culture says we have to, if it's between you and this guy, even though he's a member of a tiny little minority, the most discriminated against minority on the planet Earth, maybe one of the most hated. You get the job over him. Remember affirmative action? Always lost out to people who supposedly thought they deserved to get whatever business or consideration or deal because of their race or the color of their skin. And how dare I, a member of the most minority on the planet Earth and the single most the single biggest victim of prejudice on the planet Earth, good old Mitch here, always the back of the line. Everybody's more important to you than you, Mitch, when it comes to all this nonsense. And the more we got into this DEI stuff, the more I became less and less important. What group am I a part of that lets me make those statements? You're wondering. I'm sure you are. I think I've drugged this out long enough. What the hell are you, Mitch, that makes you among the most hated? I'll tell you what I am. I'm a bald-headed, Jewish, heterosexual, white male. That's what I am. A bald-headed, Jewish, heterosexual, white male. On the scale of who's important in this world and who we need to give special considerations to, I am at the bottom of the barrel. I cannot put on any form. There is no checkbox. Are you white or Caucasian, or are you Hispanic? Well, I'm Caucasian. Well, sorry, folks. We have to take the Hispanics first. Are you... My group of people was so demonized, and people forget about this, that and I'm not looking for sympathy here. It's just reality. Pretty much all my ancestors were wiped out in World War II in the ovens and camps in Germany. the bald-headed, Jewish, white, heterosexual males were the first to go. We were the first to go. And I'm just trying to let you get into my head a little bit and let you know why I've always been so against anything that has to do with hiring, special programs, throwing money at people for any reason other than merit. And who is most talented and can do the best job that people want to pay for. I could always compete there, but I never, ever was considered when it came to awarding a contract. So many people like me, so many men like me, especially the bald-headed heterosexual Jewish ones, formed corporations and installed as officers of their corporations minority women, and they got all the contracts. I've been fighting this all my life. I'm particularly joyous now when I see they're finally realizing the folly of this, and maybe it just took it to go to the absurd lengths that it did, where we had a transgender admiral in charge of the military that was so unqualified to actually do any military stuff. But we checked all the boxes for that one. We had a letter somewhere in that LGBTQRWERTY nonsense. And it's about time we woke up, and my friends, this is not the time to fall back into those ways again. This is the time to take up the fight and keep those people who are finding every reason not to give that shit up. We need to fight them and continue to stomp that down until it is gone and never returns again. And we return to a world, to a country. That's the reason this country was built, and that is merit. Merit. And stop with these artificially manufactured differences that they use to create division among us, keep us fighting with each other so that they can continue their corruption and bullshit while diverting the public attention to the fight that they've created. And everybody's got a sign in there marching. How did I get started on this? It's because I need to see some questions here. Lori says, okay, Mr. Stud, get ready. Get ready, ladies. Here we go. Yes. Okay, let me get off my soapbox here this morning. Ellen, me too. Sorry if I don't say hi to everyone. Typing is too much energy. Still sick. You're sick too, Ellen? Oh, no. Headache is the hardest. Ellen, thank God that's one thing I didn't have was a headache. I had everything else, but I haven't had the headache. That was lucky. That was good news. Good news. But I need to get going here. This is what happens when you just start the motors on the ship, turn it loose, and nobody's driving. That seems to be the direction I'm taking today. But that's okay. We're just visiting. We're just visiting and chatting with each other. Questions? Anybody? Everyone gets sick sometimes, says Ellen. I've been lucky, kid. It's been years since I had anything, even a cold. I did have last year that little bit of congestion. Remember that upper respiratory thing? But that went away pretty quick. Went away pretty quick. And I'm just going to continue to isolate myself from humanity. Although I had thought this morning about, seeing as I'm starting these things at 9:30, and the gym I used to go to opens at 5 a.m., I would have plenty of time to go to the gym, get back into working out again, which I think I need to do. I tried to do it at home, but when you have a gym at home, it's like having an office at home, and you just don't do it. There's something about going somewhere to accomplish something. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't need that, but it certainly helps. And I had thought, maybe I need to 3 days a week at least hit the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. But the thought of being around all those other people scares me too, because what the hell else is brewing out there that I might pick up, especially in what I enjoy the most about the gym. I like to do a nice workout and exercise, my muscles and build up some muscle, because I have lost some. I haven't been doing too much of that, and if you don't use it, you lose it. I'm sorry. But I want to build up some muscle again. I like the sauna, the steam, but who knows what crap you're going to be breathing in a steam room. Scares me, but it feels so good. And a sauna, a nice hot sauna to sweat like crazy, and then go jump into a cold shower. Just shock you a little bit. Take a nice shower, get dressed, and come home, and I would be home in plenty of time. I may do that. Starting next week and see what happens. What am I going to do, get sicker? Maybe just what the doctor ordered. We'll see. I have to weigh whether exposing myself to the sick public with all the breeding of viruses and everything else that's going on inside their unhealthy bodies. Whether I want to expose myself to that, or I'd be better off just staying home until this thing goes away completely. I don't know. Gilream says, my lady friend is a carb addict. She was flattened by 9 days. You came through like a champ, bitch. Yeah, thank you. I'm still mending. I wish it would hurry up already. Hurry up. Vicky Farmer says, had this plague for 2.5 weeks, went through all the big pharma cures, which did nothing. Then I got smart, and I used vermectin and got better immediately. I don't know what that is. Vermectin? Is that what you're talking about? Vermectin? I can't speak to that, but I'm glad it got better for you. CV says, in the beginning of mine, 1 minute I was burning up hot, the next I was freezing to death. Yeah, I experienced a little of that too. That's just a fever. How you doing, CB? Getting over it? Can't believe we all shared this together. One thing I know for sure, you didn't catch it here on my live stream, but it's been a bad one. It's been a bad one. Jemmett says, why are people that got flu shot get the flu? Don't figure. A friend of mine had the shot and the flu. Oh, that's true. There's a lot of reasons. Sometimes they actually miss because they've got to concoct these flu vaccines in advance. They have to take their best guess at which strains of the virus they need to include, and a lot of these immunologists, when you hear them interviewed on the news, they'll say things like, I think we nailed it pretty close this year. Or, well, we missed it this year because of the major source of these flus wasn't something we put in the virus. So it's a crapshoot every year when they do that. You hope they get it lucky. Terry Sue says, I sweated bad during my bout with whatever that crap was. I'd wake up soaking wet. Yeah, that's just what happens when you get a fever. Your body's fighting it off, and it uses a higher temperature to try to kill this stuff. Well, it does a lot of other things to your body as well. Wow, wow, wow. Questions, questions, questions. Do I have any? Yes, I do have a coffee here. Thank you. Jeff Johnson, you know the name. In honor of Single Awareness Day, I'd love to buy you a coffee, Mitch. 3 coffees. Thank you, Jeff. Man, you're very generous. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, let's see who else. I see a few other coffees here. Wow. 15th of February, Jerry Voitush. Thank you, Jerry. Happy to have my sister in town from Michigan. We are driving to Vero today. I'll honk when we drive by your neck of the woods. Keep feeling better. Thank you, my friend. I'm looking forward to seeing you again one of these days soon. You're going to go right by my place. If you're on I-95, you can wave. And I'll wave back at you. And thank you for the coffee, Jerry. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. And Bergerson, 3 coffees. Thank you, my friend. Eat the meat, be the master. I am that way to you. See the video I put out this afternoon and what I put down for my dinner last night. Nobody can ever accuse me of not eating the meat, that's for sure. And it was really good, really good. And Jeff Johnson, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I didn't even realize it was Single Awareness Day, but now I am part of the celebration. Who knew? Who knew? What is Single Awareness Day? Single Awareness Day. What are the tenets of Single Awareness Day? Saturday, February 15th, 2025. Single Awareness Day is an unofficial holiday. Some celebrate on February 15th each year. It's an unofficial celebrated by single people. It serves as a complement to Valentine's Day. For people who are not married or in a romantic relationship, it is a celebration of love in all forms, recognizing love between friends, family, and loving yourself. Some people who observe Single Awareness Day do so out of spite for Valentine's Day as a hallmark holiday. Ah, that's funny. That's funny. Single Awareness Day is also referred to as an antithesis of Valentine's Day, especially when celebrated on February 14th. It's also known as the acronym SAD, particularly when negatively observed through the inability to find love. Okay, so I guess what all that means is for those of us that are single, we can approach this one of two ways. We can say, wow, ain't this great? Or we can say, poor me, I'm so lonely. That's an individual thing, I guess. I can understand both of that because I've been in both of those places. But I've been single for so long right now I don't feel any poor me about it. Maybe that's a little sad. But for all the relationships I've had in my life, I've paid dearly. And in the final analysis, I've always said, there were some nice things about it, but in the final analysis, it was way too frigging costly, not only in money, but in emotional suffering as well. And after a while, you say, I can't afford it anymore, both monetarily or emotionally, to allow myself to be abused and hurt like that anymore. And I've come to terms with it, and that enabled me to be happy, and I'm pretty happy. Will it ever happen to me again? Well, the likelihoods every year diminishes as I get older, but hell, I may be a 105-year-old fart hobbling around and find the love of my life. Who the hell knows? Never say never in this world. I learned that lesson a long time ago. All you're going to do is break that promise to yourself. All righty, where are we? Where are we? We are at looking for questions. Looking for questions. Pamela, how you doing, Pamela Suarez? Vicks is amazing stuff. Yeah, a little menthol. I guess opens you right up. I remember, God, that's goes so far back to my childhood. I still remember my mother rubbing Vicks all over me. Brings back a lot of memories. People put Vicks on the bottom of your feet before bedtime. Granny Boo too. Wow. And just when I think I know it all, I come along and hear something I've never heard before. Vicks on the bottom of your feet. I understand the chest part, but and I've managed to stay away from over-the-counter drugs during this whole thing. And especially any antibiotics that they prescribe for viruses. Why? Why prescribe antibiotics? Z-Pak. How many people run into the emergency room or the clinic when they come down with a virus? And the first thing they do is they throw a Z-Pak at them. And they start taking antibiotics. This is not a bacterial thing. This is a viral thing. It's why they still can't cure the common cold, because it's a virus. Viruses are not bacteria. It's an entirely different mechanism. But so many of these over-the-counter things and the knee-jerk reaction prescriptions that they write for people who come down with the flu only do more harm than good, I think. Especially if you happen to have somewhere near a healthy microbiome in different areas of your body. Why kill them? They're not causing the flu. Anyway, Terry Sue, I use Vicks on my mom's weird yellow tone. It's too much information there, Terry. Oh my God, are we having fun yet? We're almost an hour into this thing, and I'm half an hour behind here looking for questions. Somebody has to ask me a question. I guess this is going to be one of those meaningless, wandering type of live streams. Evidently, we're all enjoying it because we're all still here Here we go. Nomadic Van, my hubby says he gets ASMR from XXX videos. I don't think so. I was kind of alluding to that without actually coming out and saying it. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. So many of those ASMR videos are definitely sexually oriented, and there is something very sexual sometime about certain sounds. So I don't think it's impossible. Either that or your husband just wants your permission to watch his videos. And we met your husband. At least we met some bearded man wandering around in his pajamas on the live stream the other night. Oh, that's great, Terry. Thanks. And here's the question from Peter that I'm still want to know. Mitch R. I think the appropriate way to phrase that would be Mitch is. But I have no idea what you meant by that, Peter. Question today is Single Awareness Day. Oh, yes, there you go. Mitch, are you feeling any better since your difficult day yesterday with the 2 trolls and the list? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Peter, I'm over them completely. I'm a happy guy today. I am feeling better. I relaxed. I de-stressed. I refused to take on anything else stressful for the rest of this weekend. I am going on a mini vacation from my life, basically, of pressure and demands on me. And I'm going to be making some minor changes to make sure that I don't ever allow myself to be in another position like I found myself in the other day, which was just this much shy of an actual, true nervous breakdown. I just can't. That's too hard on your health. I'm too old for that. I've had too much strife. I cannot allow myself to be subject to that again. If it means that I have to tell certain people that rely on me, that find somebody else to rely on, whatever, I'm going to have to do that or make some ground rules, new ground rules. Without getting into too much detail. And here is Francine Bourgeois, the benefactor of my always hot coffee. Thank you, Francine. And this is, today we have my Kenny cup. Thank you, Mark Whistler, for this. This is one of my favorite cups. I love this. I love Kenny. And he went and got me a cup that says Morning Coffee with Mitch on the front, and has Kenny in a black hoodie. And that was difficult to find that graphic, but he found it because at the time it was cold out. I was doing my morning live streams from out on the porch, and I was wearing a black hoodie, not an orange or a red one like Kenny wears. Francine says, good day to you all. I'd rather shovel 10 or 15 inches of snow every day than having this debilitating flu that most of you have south of the border. Mitch and all of you, take care. Thanks so much, Francine. And I'm almost up there with you, man. I would go out and rather shovel snow than have this nonsense. It's crazy. Laurie says, what are we supposed to be aware of? Yeah, that we're alone, I think, is the whole purpose of that. Question, Mitch, do you drink electrolytes daily? I do, LaRonda. I do. I drink my own little mixture. I have been slacking off just a little bit during the recovery from this flu because my mixture contains magnesium citrate, and the last thing I've needed over the past few days has been anything with any laxative effects. But I'll probably start doing it again. I think everything's getting back to normal. I may mix myself up a batch today, but yeah, I do take electrolytes daily. Maybe I don't need them, but maybe I do. I've heard a few interesting things about why do we need electrolytes, and one of the most compelling reasons is that humans, our ancestors, never drank water that didn't contain electrolytes or minerals because they drank pond water. They drank water from streams. They drank natural water, spring water. They drank water that all had minerals. They did not have reverse osmosis filters. They didn't have Brita pitchers. They didn't have distilled water sold in bottles. They drank water with minerals, and that's why we're not getting it in our diet, and probably doesn't hurt to put it back. Can we overdose? I think you got to drink an awful lot of electrolytes. And one of the most important things is make sure you salt things. Salt to taste. Your taste tells you how much salt you need. If you don't need that much salt, your stuff's going to taste, and you salt it, it's going to be too salty. It's very fine-tuned. You know immediately whether the taste is just right, needs salt, or there's too much salt. That's all determined by how much salt you actually need. It's not an arbitrary thing. It's tightly controlled. Tightly controlled. From Mariah says, hey, Mitch and Chet. Gemma says, why do people get the flu shot, get the flu? We talked about that, or I saw that one already. Yeah, people. Who knows? Who knows? It's a very complex thing, this biology of ours. It could be any one of a million different reasons why this person gets it and that person doesn't. Jay Hoggard's here. How you doing? Ron Carnivore. Hi, Ron. Good to see you. Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much for that. And Kenji Espresso says, your CDC reported that influenza is pretty high for this year. We need the CDC. We need that huge government bureaucracy. I have it's an expression that there's a couple of ways to respond to a proclamation like that. One of them might be, wow, duh, you think? That works. Or, no shit, Sherlock. That works. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah. It's another way of saying. And then my personal favorite. My personal favorite is, wow. Your knowledge of the obvious is exceeded only by your grasp of the self-evident. How could we live without the CDC? The people who brought you the last 4 years of human suffering by misreading every frigging reality and clue and getting paid hundreds of billions of dollars of our taxpayer money in the process. Wow. Thank you. Yes, our CDC. Experts. You know what the definition of an expert is? There's a couple of them. Expert. A drip under pressure. If you don't like that one, how about this one? An expert. Any traveling salesman more than 50 miles from home. Also an expert. Or anybody on any talking head on TV who's portrayed to be an expert on pretty much any subject. None of us are experts. If nothing else, we have opinions. We have opinions. Wrong, right, or otherwise, it's a gray area most of the time. I try to be very wary of people who proclaim themselves to be an expert on anything. I think there's always way too much ego and arrogance. In fact, this reminds me when I was at that meet up with Kiltsey over there, and they drafted me to be on the panel next to all of these frigging doctors with their frigging, so proud of themselves, with their expert knowledge and ability and arrogance and medical degrees that lead them to believe that they know so much. And I'm standing there, some old fart, just standing there. I'm wondering, how the hell did I get up here? This is a panel of experts. And if you watched my little speech, I made a video out of it. Watch it. I actually came right out and said, I don't know how I got here. I'm not an expert. I'm a comedian. I don't consider myself an expert. I consider myself very well read and studied. I consider myself to have an analytical mind to decide what I read is either fact, bullshit, or somewhere in between. And I form opinions about that. And don't claim that my opinions are right and yours are wrong. I just say these are my opinions. See if it makes common sense to you. That's as close to being an expert, I think, as any of us can get. Remember, whenever you hear the word expert, think drip under pressure. Or think about that traveling salesman spreading his money around in the pickup bar 50 miles from home because his wife's nowhere in the neighborhood trying to get laid. He knows everything about everything. Big man on campus. That's an expert. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Carnivorous Cat Mom, how you doing? Watching Mitch and eating my bacon and eggs. I can't think of two better things to be doing in the morning on a Saturday morning. Great to see you all. And Jemmett says, how about RFK? We will see. He didn't seem to know when asked the difference between Medicare and Medicaid. Well, I think the line between any government health program is just becoming blurred more and more. And they keep mixing these things in. And, you know, even when you go to apply for Obamacare, are you entitled to Medicaid? Are you entitled to subsidies? Are you one of these poor minorities that's entitled to a free ride? And so that Mitch, the old bald-headed white Jewish guy, has to somehow pay for your problems, even though he's got problems of his own. There's no help for him. I'm sure he knows the difference. I don't know where you heard that or not, Jemmett, but I think the biggest thing that I think, if nothing else, with JFK, we have brought at least chronic illness into the public dialogue. Got such a long way to go. We've got so many morons who are still in power in Washington, still making and taking tremendous amounts of money, that are not going to give that up. They're just not going to, they're not going to fold. They're going to fight like hell. And they're going to fight in the courts. And that stuff can take, it can take 10 years to settle some of those things. That's not what we need in this country, and that's going to do no good. And that's why I'm not very optimistic about any meaningful changes coming to virtually anything. But at least we're starting to chip away at this stuff. And who determines the priorities in this country? What's more important right now? Get criminal gang rapists back out of the country that are here illegally? Is that important? Or get red dye number 3 out of children's cereals? It's not important to me. I don't eat anything with red dye number 3 in it. I talked about that yesterday. So we have all these different priorities, but these priorities are all different depending on who you're talking to. And everybody's got their own cause and their own sign that they can march around with. We are screwed up, my friends. It didn't happen overnight. It took 100 years to get us this screwed up. RFK, remember, cares more about vaccines than pretty much anything else. I have still never heard RFK say that red meat is the most healthy food a human being can eat. I have never heard that. I've never heard them say, plants are trying to kill you, stop eating plants. All their advice still pushes the healthy whole fruits and vegetables and eat lean meat, maybe a few ounces and chicken breast and low fat. I have never heard RFK espouse a high fat diet yet. So while, yeah, they all have their causes, and yeah, while they all have, vaccine this and red dye number 3 that, none of that even begins to attack the real problem, and that is human beings need to eat a high fat, high meat, low carb, little or no plants and fiber diet to solve all the health problems. It will make all of the diabetes, the dementia, the heart disease regress back to the point where the worst thing that human beings did was smoke cigarettes. And I know this is a very, very politically incorrect statement to make, and I make it ironically, that when I was a kid in the 50s, everybody smoked. Everybody smoked. I don't know exactly what the percentage of American adults that smoked were, but all I know is that when I was 11 years old, every 11-year-old I knew smoked in the bathrooms in school. Our parents smoked. Our grandparents smoked. Our doctors smoked. Everybody smoked. The milkman that came and brought the milk to us had the cigarette dangling out of his mouth. The doctor who performed the physical had a lit cigarette in his mouth while he's listening to your heart with a stethoscope. Everybody smoked, but what they didn't do back then was eat the crap sugar, seed oil laden, grain infested, addictive nonsense that's been foisted on us in the past 50, 60 years since Ansel Keys, the savior of humanity, decided that fat and cholesterol were bad. Back in the 40s and 50s, with all of those smokers, there was very little, if any, heart disease. Most people were thin. Most people were healthy. They ate a sane diet of meat and veg. They managed to eat some desserts. They always had dessert. But carb addiction was not as rampant as it is today. And they were healthy. And I say to myself, we'd be better off if everybody in this country just went back to smoking cigarettes again and stopped eating ultra-processed foods and went back to exactly the way we used to eat in the early 1950s. And the data and statistics will back me up 100% on that. Look at the charts of the absolute explosion of diabetes and heart disease, mental illness, dementia, cancer, all of the chronic conditions caused by plant poisoning, too much addictive sugar, and just exactly this war on tobacco. How much better off are we today because of that? Because how much better off are we? Are we better off health-wise than we were in the early 50s, mid-50s, when I was a kid? Doesn't seem that way. Did we maybe wage war on the wrong shit? It's fun to think about stuff like that. I know that everybody'd look at you like you were crazy if you went around saying, hey, quit eating shit and start smoking again. Yes, you'll be healthy, you know. And we have the data to prove it, for God's sakes. We do have the data of how these diseases have progressed. They're not even diseases. Diabetes is not a disease. It's a poisoning. It's a toxin. It's a toxic reaction. Like lead poisoning is not a disease. You take the lead away and the lead poisoning goes away. JS says, my parents smoked growing up. My dad said I had the lungs of an athlete. Yeah. My dad smoked, he lived into his 90s, and he was a healthy guy. I'm not saying smoking is that good for you when you inhale it, but compared to eating this poison that we're eating today, we would be better off and we were healthier when we were a nation of smokers and not a nation of highly addicted carb addicts that can't go 2 hours without a fix of a toaster pastry, a donut, a pizza, a bagel. 2 hours. We don't even eat anymore. We graze now. One sugar meal to another. And that's healthy according to them. That's what they fed me when I was in the hospital. A breakfast of 100% sugar, because God forbid, with my high cholesterol, I was on like death watch. Don't dare let this man have a grain of salt or a gram of fat. It will probably kill him. That was the diet they put me on. They put me on. I was perfectly healthy. I was doing great. I was in there for brain surgery from an accident. But my cholesterol is screaming high. So this idiot hospitalist that checked me in put me down as a cardiac risk and put me on a strict cardiac diet. Absolutely no sodium, no salt, no fat of any kind. So when I finally got out of the recovery room and out of intensive care and could eat again and went into a regular room for a few days, the first breakfast they brought me, I opened the thing up. I had a bowl of Special K, skim milk, orange juice, dry toast, a little packet of margarine, Not a grain of salt anywhere. Not an ounce of any fat except seed oils in the margarine. And as a treat for me, I had a little dessert. A pastry with a sugar topping. Here you are, Mitch. We here at Holmes Regional want you to get better. We wouldn't dare hurt you by feeding you like bacon and eggs. With the precarious state of your health, we're going to give you, oh, I forgot there was some fruit in there too. We're going to give you a breakfast of 100% sugars, seed oils, and grains, with no protein and absolutely no animal fat or meat. Because we care about you, Mitch. And we know everything because we're smart. And you're not, because we've been professionally trained by the Seventh-day Adventists. Our curriculums were written by those at Loma Linda University. And those curriculums were approved by the smartest minds in our governments, in all of those organizations that are funded by and supported by those bastions of integrity, the corporate, big food, and pharma. And a feeling of warmth and comfort went over me as I realized just how loved I was. That lasted about some fraction of a second when I finally grabbed the little girl that brought my breakfast. Honest to God, I was so pissed. Before I even opened the tray and took it all in, she was standing there, the little girl. And I probably owe her an apology, honest to God. But let me tell you what I remember of my honest reaction. I put the cover back on the food. I said, "Get this shit out of my sight." She goes, "What?" I said, "Get this shit out of my sight. Are you trying to poison me?" "What do you mean? What do you mean?" I said, "You're trying to poison me." "Well, what can I get you instead?" I said, "Bring me half a pound of bacon and a bunch of eggs, and I'm talking about real eggs, and throw some real butter on it, will you? I need food. I don't need to be poisoned by this crap." I mean, I was pissed. And that little girl rose to the occasion. God, I fell in love with her right then and there. Like a granddaughter. I mean, I just thought she was the cutest little thing. And she said, "Oh, I can do that." I said, "Would you please get me some real food? I am a carnivore. I eat meat. I don't eat carbohydrates. I don't eat anything like that." And then the hospitals came around later. "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean, what am I doing? We've got you on a cardiac diaphragm." And I had a friggin' fight with her and fought with that woman, Cuban hospitalist, the most useless medical professional I've ever met in my life. And I fought with her until I finally got out of that fucking hospital. Turned down her prescriptions that I didn't need, and managed to escape with my life from the healthcare system yet again. They did their job. Their mechanics, their surgeons, got rid of a big blood clot in my head. Yeah, I still have some residual symptoms from that whole having my skull cut open and having them fishing around in my brain and all that. But I think I escaped as good as anybody could escape from that. And you guys have seen this. This is, you know, in case you haven't seen it. Right here. They cut that whole side of my skull. They have a scar. They flapped the skin down in a big flap. They opened my skull up with craniotomy. They went in there and took out a huge blood clot that was putting pressure on my brain. And for that, I thank them. They saved my life. But then they started screwing with my metabolic health. And I wouldn't have any part of it. And God, keep me away from those butchers. Please, please. If I ever have to be hauled back into a place like, just shoot me. I'm old enough. I've had a good life. Don't let them kill me. Don't let them somehow start the decline of me into a drooling in a nursing home somewhere. I would rather not be here, my friends. Be careful. They're idiots. And that, I hope, is what maybe some of this new politics will, the message that'll maybe probably get out there. How are we doing on time? We're an hour and a half already, and I am nowhere near the end of this, but I think it's about time to call it a day. We still have, holy cow, 153 people are still here. Wow, wow, wow. What am I doing right? This is like wandering around aimlessly, but some things I see in the chat, they sent me down these little rabbit hole roads that so let me take a quick look at the chat here a little bit. Where am I? 10, 12? No, I'm still so far behind, God. Question, here you go. Have you heard how the conference went out in Las Vegas? They were going to be talking about LMHRs. Did they release the documentary yet? JS. Haven't heard anything about it. Can't keep up with everything. I've been having issues and problems of my own. No, but I'll keep an eye out. I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm pretty well on top of the research of Feldman, Dave Feldman, Nick Norwitz, and those guys. And I think the stuff they're doing is very valuable. And for me personally, their work has just given me the confidence to know that I don't need to be worrying about my LDL, no matter how high it gets. I know that if anybody panics so much over it, I'll say, okay, I'll tell you what, my friend, go to the store, buy me 3 or 4 boxes of Oreos, would you? And just to show you how ridiculously off you are, leave me alone with those Oreos for about a week. And then come back and take my cholesterol gun. You'll find I'll reduce my LDL by about 75%. And you'll say, wow, Mitch, you're healthy. And I'll say, well, that doesn't make much sense because I've just poisoned myself with enormous doses of sugar for the past week. And more than likely will be screwing my blood sugar, my metabolism up on the road to becoming a diabetic. Just to get a friggin' number down so you can tell me that that's better? You don't know what you're talking about. Stay out of my mitochondria, will you please? Your entire kingdom is built on bullshit, medical community. Bullshit that came out of the mouth of Ansel Keys 70 years ago. That's the foundation that you're using to justify the genocide of the human race with your friggin' diet information. And if I sound like I'm passionate about this, it's a reality that's out there every day, and they keep doing it, and anybody that tries to change it, they will fight to the death because How dare we take away their friggin' money and their reputation built on this bullshit, even if we're right. They will not give up. It's a generational change, unfortunately. An old scientific saying, science advances one funeral at a time. The old scientists have to get old and die, and their ridiculous, wrong theories and ideas have to die with them. Because as old, stupid scientists, they will fight the young ones that have an idea that doesn't jive with them. They have to live out their lives and just die of old age. And then some of the new ideas come in. Nothing happens that quickly. Nothing happens that quickly. And I always default back to my call to action, and that is, you can't change the world. You can only change your world. And take care of yourself, and maybe convince the few people that are important to you. That's even unlikely, but convince them that they need to make some of these changes too. But they're addicts, and you can't talk an alcoholic out of loving to drink. You just can't talk a carb out of loving the feeling he gets when he goes into a sugar coma. We're so screwed up. Nancy says, question, have you tried making homemade bone broth? You know what? I've tried bone broth a couple times. I don't even like this stuff. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the way it stinks up the house when you make it. I just don't like it. Is it good for me? Maybe. But I don't like soft-boiled eggs either. There's so many things that might be good for me that I just don't want to eat. So no, I'm sorry. Bone broth is not a part of Mitch's carnivore lifestyle. Probably never will be. Should you make bone broth? Absolutely. Why not? It's got to be healthy. All that good stuff, collagen and everything else. I try to get that other places. I just eat the fatty meat. Just eat the fatty meat. I like to make some beef soup every once in a while. Throw some pork rinds in there like croutons. That's delicious. But that's not a daily part of my diet. My diet is very simple. Very, very simple. It's very simple. Bacon and eggs every day. Some kind of, for my first meal, some kind of beef or other meat for my second meal, and that's it. Generally, I can go a week with nothing but bacon, eggs, and ground beef. No fish, no chicken, no nothing, and be very happy. And I look at the guys, the real successful, healthy carnivores, the guys like Robert Kiltz, the guys like Sean Baker and Anthony Chafee. Basically, they do nothing. They're like lion diet people. They just, cutting board with a big ribeye on it. That's pretty much all they eat. They seem to do okay. I think that everything we need is in that meat. Everything. There's collagen in there. Anything that's in bone broth is going to be in the meat as well. Maybe once in a while. I don't know. It's hard to say. Somebody says something about 70 years. Wow, 70 years is awesome. All right. Meatitudes. I didn't see the start to that string of comments. All right, my friends, I think it's time for me to think about wrapping this up, and I would really like to get to the bottom of the chat. 1042. Okay, I'm going to race through it now. See if anything pops out at me. You guys are still hanging in there with me. I don't know about you, but I want to get out and get a little sun on me today, because it's shining brightly out there, and it's warm, and I'm sure that that's going to feel good while I take the rest of the day off. And I did it. I am at the bottom of the chat. Yay. I must have missed a ton of stuff. But it's been a nice morning, guys. Nice. Been relaxing. No aggravation. Good deal. Good deal. Tuka's here. Aunt B's here. Hiya, Tuka. How you doing? But I'm at the bottom of the chat now, and Jerry Voitush, thanks for another excellent live stream, Mitch. Listen for our honk. Mitch, everyone have a great weekend. Tammy says, have a great day, y'all. So let me, for the first time, let me play a little happy music. I've been pretty happy today. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. Again, for a little, not too much, little nose blowing ASMR. Some coffee slurping ASMR. Hoping a little of that created some tingles for you all. That's funny, isn't it? I mean, that's really funny. What they won't make a thing out of. Anything, if it's a new thing, it'll become a fad. People will jump all over it. It'll become the most important thing on the planet until it isn't anymore. But for right now, I don't know if it's peaking or not, but that AMSR thing's been going on for years. Anyway, thanks for coming. Say goodbye to each other. Robbie Autry, bye everybody. Gemmet, Carnivorous Cat Mom, Robbie Autry again. Tammy Pitarch, Lat, good to see you. Tanya, hiya Tanya. Kitchen Witch, good to see you this morning. Didn't see you in there. Of course, I didn't see much of anything scrolling by as fast as I did. Steve McAvoy, good to see you. CB, man, I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. JS, have a great weekend, everybody. Danny in Boston. Scott Elliott, good to see you. Good to see you. And who else? Tuka. And the music's about to end. Here it is. Okay, my friends. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking around. We were all over the place, but I had a good time. I'm feeling better and going to continue to get better and look out for my video this afternoon. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I will see you 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. And you know the drill. Until then, do like me. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.